In my opinion, lack of skill is not the only reason why we have so much of unemployment in India today. I personally feel कि उसका root है not choosing the right education that provides the knowledge that are required to our needs, or the education that serves our strengths and hence minimize the weaknesses that we have. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the three major boards that exist in India today and talk about their strengths, their weaknesses that help you ultimately decide which is the right education board for yourself. और अगर आप एक पेरेंट हैं तो इस वीडियो में वी विल टॉक और गिव यू मोर डिटेल्स about each of these boards that will help you ultimately decide कि आपके किड के लिए कौन सा बोर्ड सही रहेगा. My name is Aditya. You are watching Learn Gurukul Way. Let's get started. All right. Before we get into each and every education board, the first and foremost thing that you should do is understand what are your needs from the education. आपके बच्चे के लिए क्या needs आपको सही लगते हैं. Do you have a career which is specific in your mind? आप एक सेंट्रल या फिर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट जॉब के लिए आपके किड को प्रिपेयर करना चाहते हैं, या फिर डू यू हैव अ प्लान्स फॉर योर किड टू सेटल अब्रॉड. टोटली डिफरेंट कि आप एक कैरियर चूज करना चाहते हैं विच इज वेरी टारगेटेड टुवर्ड्स अ स्पोर्ट्स और एथलेटिक कैरियर. एनी ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस माइट हैव आंसर्स, यू माइट नॉट हैव आंसर्स, और ये प्रोसेस थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड भी हो सकता है बेस्ड ऑन योर किड्स एज, क्योंकि अगर वो छोटे हैं तो यू विल नॉट हैव दोस kids aspirations right away, and obviously it will become difficult for you to decide or to even understand कि कौन सा career right रहेगा. Now don't worry, because in our upcoming videos we will lay out all the decisions, all the paths that are available after a certain age for you to decide कि आपके kid के लिए कौन सा path सही रहेगा. This would cover career paths that are available in India and even outside of India. If you have any specific questions that you want answers to, put down those in the comment section below, and we will definitely take this into our recommendations for our upcoming videos. So if that is very, very clear to you, and if you have spent time in understanding what are the right need for your education of your kid, then kudos to you. So there are three boards. The first one is the state board, the second one is the CBSE board, and the last one is the ICSE board. Now, state board, as the name suggests, it is the board which is available across every state, and since it is state board, it is very widely available, meaning you can see state board education available from tier 1 cities to tier 3 cities, even in villages and panchayats. Now, state board is run by the Department of Education for each and every state, and they will decide what should be the curriculum, what should be the entry criteria for students, what should be the entry criteria for teaching staff, what are the passing percentage marks, and even those examinations should be conducted. Now, since it is a state board, every state board have focus on the heritage, the culture, the geography, or even the history of that particular state board. So you will see that curriculum being incorporated into the state board educations. Now, even though it is very specific to the state board, you will see the major baseline of the subjects like math, science, and social will have very essential foundations that a student should require. And the focus will obviously from the perspective of getting a job and upskilling in your career. Now, other than these three subjects, you will also have three language subjects, and maybe some boards might have some additional subjects as well. Now, these language subjects could be like English, Hindi, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, based on whatever region that you are choosing that state board from. But essentially, English and Hindi are some of those primary language subjects that you would see, or even Sanskrit that you would see as a common primary subject as a language. Now, the weaknesses of the state board are, essentially curriculum varies from state to state. अब एक करिकुलम एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट में जितना डिफरेंट होता है उतने ही मे बी द एबिलिटी ऑफ अ स्टूडेंट टू ग्रास्प दैट नॉलेज वुड वेरी. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट यू विल नॉट हैव अ कॉमन बेस लाइन टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपका किड या फिर आपका स्टूडेंट किस लेवल पे स्टैंड करता है. अब ये करिकुलम आपके फेवर में भी काम कर सकता है या फिर अगेंस्ट भी काम कर सकता है, क्योंकि जब आप नेशनल लेवल कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशंस में जाएंगे, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल आईआईटी जेईई या फिर एनईईटी, देयर यू माइट सी सम वेरिएंस इन टर्म्स ऑफ द एजुकेशन दैट यू हैव रिसीव्ड and in terms of application of that knowledge. Now, obviously, there are state level examinations that you will or you will have, and जो भी आपको उस perspective से knowledge चाहिए, that will always be available in the state level curriculum that you will have. The other weakness that I see is some of the state boards, like Andhra State Board, have recently decided that they will move to the CBSE curriculum, and we might foresee that some other states as well going into CBSE curriculum as well. Now, the reasons you should ask yourself why you should choose a state board is that if your parents or if you are already into a state level service, and you have frequent transfers from one city to another city or from one state to another state, then obviously आपको ये state board choose करना चाहिए, because the movement from one state board to another state board is essentially easier. तो एक vanilla process होता है, and you can switch from one state board to another state board easily. You will have a lot of options to choose from, like schools काफी ज़्यादा है in terms of the state boards, so you will obviously find from high range to low range schools that are running state boards. The other reason to choose is basically the financial thing. So if at all, if you're tight on the budget for the education money that you want to spend for your kid, then you can choose the state board. The other reason is that if you're okay to spend a few initial years of your kid in state board and then move them out of state board to maybe a CBSE board or even outside of India, then you can definitely choose state board. That will not hamper your chances of getting into an abroad school or an abroad college. The last reason for choosing a state board is that since there are a lot of schools, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities that you will get either from government funded organizations or even from the private organizations. So that is other reason for you to choose state boards. All right, the next one is CBSE. CBSE is Central Board of Secondary Education, which is again run by Ministry of Education of India. And the curriculum is again maintained by NCERT, which stands for National Council of Education and Research Training. अब CBSE जो है वो एक कॉमन ग्राउंड प्रोवाइड करता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ करिकुलम, एंड CBSE 1 to 10th के बाद में 10th में एक बोर्ड एग्जामिनेशन कंडक्ट करता है विच हैपन्स अक्रॉस इंडिया, जिसका करिकुलम ऑलमोस्ट सेम रहता है. Subjects would vary from whatever you have chosen as an electives, but जो examination paper रहता है which is across India. तो 10th में एक एग्जामिनेशन कंडक्ट करता है which is called as AISSE, and that stands for All India Secondary School Examination. और जो एग्जामिनेशन 12th में कंडक्ट करता है which is called as AISSCE, which is nothing but All India Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination. अब ये ऐसे दो एग्जामिनेशंस है विच आर कॉमन अक्रॉस इंडिया, सो इट ऑब्वियसली मेक सेंस कि आपके पास एक कॉमन ग्राउंड है टेस्ट करने का कि आपका किड या फिर आप किस लेवल पे स्टैंड करते हैं व्हेन यू कंपेयर टू ऑल अदर स्टूडेंट्स. अब करिकुलम के बारे में वी विल टॉक अबाउट इन अ डिफरेंट वीडियो बिकॉज देर आर लॉट ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स, देर आर लॉट ऑफ electives दैट CBSE प्रोवाइड्स. However, इनका जो स्टैंडर्ड सब्जेक्ट्स रहते हैं लाइक मैथ्स, साइंस एंड सोशल विल बी कॉमन, बट अगेन यू हैव ऑप्शंस टू चूज electives which are not essentially available in state board. तो इसमें आपके पास ऑप्शन है फ्रेंच एज अ सेकेंडरी लैंग्वेज चूज करने का. यू विल ऑल्सो हैव एन ऑप्शन टू चूज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी जैसे सब्जेक्ट्स विच आर ऑब्वियसली ग्रोइंग इन डिमांड. सो आप ये सब्जेक्ट्स चूज कर सकते हैं, एंड देन इफ यू हैव इंटरेस्ट इन ग्रोइंग योर करियर टुवर्ड्स दैट लाइन, देन ऑब्वियसली इट वुड बी बेनिफिशियल. Now these electives are again, you should take it with a pinch of salt, that these are providing you the foundation level knowledge, solid foundations that are essential from the course perspective. But again आपको एक आइडिया मिल जाता है कि ये कोर्स या फिर ये लाइन मेरे लिए सही है कि नहीं, and then you can build career on top of that. Weaknesses that you have about CBSE are, again, CBSE is very focused on providing you the theoretical knowledge. Although the foundations are strong, it is looking at from the theory standpoint. जो practical ability होती है या फिर practical applicability होती है of these subjects is not tested in CBSE. और CBSE में weakness एक और ये भी है कि you cannot easily switch from CBSE to ICSE or ICSE to CBSE. So you have to be very careful in terms of deciding कि आप सीबीएसई करना चाहे, सीबीएसई बोर्ड लेना चाह रहे हैं या फिर आईसीएसई बोर्ड लेना चाह रहे हैं। सीबीएसई में जो स्कॉलरशिप्स मिलते हैं, द मेरिट बेस्ड सीबीएसई के स्कॉलरशिप्स मिलते हैं, एंड अगेन इफ यू आर अ कैपेबल स्टूडेंट देन ऑब्वियसली you should be able to get those scholarships, and these scholarships are again government funded, as well as you will have private funded scholarships as well that will be available for your kids. Indian Certificate of Secondary Examination (ICSE) is an autonomous national examination board which is recognized by Government of India. Now ICSE के जो roots है which were laid in 1958, it follows some of the foundations or the principles which are still relevant today and are closely resembling to Cambridge University London के जो foundations and principles है. ICSE एक ऐसा board है which focuses on practical knowledge and the experimentation knowledge rather than on the theoretical foundations or the skills. इसीलिए if you look at their curriculum as well, they have subjects like legal studies, mass communication, hospitality management, beauty and wellness, which are really important if you look at it from the real life world perspective, and that is what ICSE's focus is also on. ICSE का जो curriculum है, it is not yet aligned with the national education policy which was introduced in 2020, but again I hope that they will align those curriculum towards that policy sooner or later. Right, so now you have understood the benefits of ICSE, why it is different from CBSE and the state boards. So the reasons why you should choose ICSE board is, first thing is that it provides you with the practical and experimental knowledge. So you will always learn and you apply what you learn. The secondary thing is that it gives a wider pool of subjects. So you have a lot of electives that you can choose from, and these are again based of real life subjects that are essential. The third reason to choose ICSE is that the mark scoring and the allocation is stricter when you compare it with the CBSE and the state board. What happens is that they divide these subjects into different groups, and each and every group has a weightage of marks. तो यहाँ पे internal और external scoring होती है, which is basically ranges between 20% to 50%, और उसके basis पे आपको internal और external marks मिलते हैं, and then your overall score will be calculated. The fourth thing which I like about ICSE board is that there is a commitment to community service. कम्युनिटी सर्विस जहाँ पे आपके स्टूडेंट्स जाके कम्युनिटी में हेल्प करते हैं, सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट दे विल बी स्कोर्ड. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच आई रियली लाइक्ड अबाउट ICSE board, and that is not something which is available in other boards like state or CBSE. The fifth point about ICSE is that there is a council called as CISCE that conducts 3 examinations overall from the 10th and the 12th perspective. 10th के लिए you have ISCE, which is Indian Certificate of Secondary Education for 10th, और ये एक board examination है that happens across India for all the schools that provide ICSE curriculum. So again, a common curriculum across the schools. There are 2 examinations from the 12th perspective. The first one is CVE, which is Secondary Certificate of Vocational Education, and the other one is ISC, which is Indian School Certificate. So these are 2 certificates that ICSE board provides for 12th standard. So keep that in mind when you're looking from 12th perspective. We'll talk about each of these certifications, each of these examinations in detail. The last and important reason why you should choose ICSE board is that if you are already decided that you want to pursue your higher education outside of India, then ICSE board is the one which give you in-depth knowledge about English as a language, and that helps you in getting good scores in competitive examinations like IELTS, TOEFL, SAT, etc. So those are some of the essential reasons that why you should think about ICSE as the right medium for your kids' education. The weaknesses are, first of all, अगर आपका perspective है कि IIT, JEE या NET examinations में आपके kid को apply करने का, then definitely ICSE board is not the one, because ICSE, as I talked about, practical and practical knowledge पे focus करता है, experimentation पे ज़्यादा focus करता है. तो theoretical knowledge या जो foundations आपको उन examinations के perspective से मिलने चाहिए, वो आपको कहीं ना कहीं कम मिलेंगे when compared to CBSE or the state boards. The second reason is that ICSE बोर्ड जो है, जिनका करिकुलम है, वो इंटरनेशनल स्कूल्स में ही अवेलेबल होता है. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट इट इज क्वाइट एक्सपेंसिव व्हेन यू कंपेयर इट विद स्टेट एंड CBSE बोर्ड्स. अगेन द लास्ट रीजन इज दैट ICSE का जो बोर्ड है, इट इज नॉट entirely focused on sports, although the focus is gradually increasing, and we have seen a lot of ICSE schools जहाँ के kids है, they are applying for regional, zonal, state or even national competitions. So those are some of the strengths and weaknesses of ICSE board. These are the essential differences between state, ICSE and CBSE boards. None of these boards are bad, obviously, but they are catering to the different needs of the students' education. I hope this was helpful, and you'll be able to then decide now which is the right board for your students' education, and ultimately you'll be able to also decide which is the right school for your kids' education. Also, do remember कि choosing a right board is just one criteria for you to decide कि कौन सा school सही है आपके kid के education के लिए. There are many other factors, many other criteria that come into play to decide which is the right school. So in our upcoming videos, we are going to talk about those essential criteria which will help you to decide कि आपके kid के लिए कौन सा school सही रहेगा. So definitely hit subscribe if you have not subscribed to our channel Learn Gurukul Way already. And if you have really learned something through this video, then definitely hit like. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.